Hello everyone and welcome to episode 78 of Competitive Magic with the Karnies. I'm your host from Italy, Andrea Mengucci, and joining me we have Javier Dominguez from Spain.
Hello everyone.
And that's it. We don't have Anthony this week. He still has some things to organize during after his return from the North America, where he stayed for about a month. But I'm glad to finally hear your voice, Javier, again. How have you been all this time?
Yeah, it's been a while. I have been doing a lot of things, like trying to move, but it's been good. I'm ready to, discuss some magic things. It's back to hear. It's good to hear you again, also.
Yes, last time I saw you, you barely top 8 again at Pro Tour. That was in, of course, Seattle, where you had a super great run once again, finishing in 10th place. So congratulations for that one.
Yeah, last time I saw you, you were winning a PTQ once again. So I guess we're doing the same thing again and again and again.
Yeah, in Chicago, Chicago and Seattle went very similar for us. Let's say.
Like, almost top 8, so not quite there, but still a fine result. And you won the PTQ, so maybe we can do it again in Amsterdam.
Exactly. I mean, I sign up, keep on winning the PTQ. I mean, I greatly enjoy the PT testing, and I hope to continue doing that. It's not an easy thing to achieve, qualify to the PT. So regardless of how I get there, I'm happy.
I mean, it's always hard, right? Like it does, like it doesn't matter how they put it. It's always hard. At the end of the day, it's like 300 players in the PT or something like this. So it's only 300 players of the total of tournament Magic players. So it's gonna be hard. It's definitely good to see you there.
Yeah, actually, Seattle was an extremely small one. I can't remember last time it was that small, and it probably is not going to be that small ever again. It was 207. And now for Amsterdam, there will be a lot more invites. In fact, for example, in this weekend, there are a couple of our regional championship. We have the one in Europe. Anthony has the one in Australia. And it has more slots than before. So there will be more people in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky situation because, I mean, the PT is like a bit cooler if it's smaller, but also it's harder to get if it's smaller, right? So it's hard for me to have like a feeling on whether what do I like the most. I think I like them when they're not very large, mostly because they get like a little bit slower and a little bit less smooth. But obviously, it also being bigger means more people are enjoying them. So there's like happiness is getting generated there in a way. How many people do you think there will be in Amsterdam?
No, let's say around the 300 number, like you said. I know that a lot of people deferred from Seattle to Amsterdam because, well, a lot of people qualified. It was very weird because a lot of people qualified to Seattle playing Modern. The Seattle PT was standard, and the one after is Modern. So a lot of people deferred from the standard one to the Modern one. So I think that we're gonna have a lot of players in Amsterdam. So I think I'm gonna say 300, but I don't know, maybe even more.
Maybe more. Yeah, I mean that's a little bit large. I don't think the 400 player PTs are like as cool as the 250 or something are. Just like it starts looking more like a GP in a way where it's way larger. But then again, more people get access to that. So
also another big problem that was there last year and wasn't touched by the change is that the regional championship, it's like 2 weeks before the Pro Tour. And if you win a qualifier in Brazil or Australia, booking a flight 2 weeks before versus booking a flight like 3 months before, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars different. So it's so weird that you have like 1 year worth of scheduling and you just end up having like, and you only have 3 events to schedule, and you have scheduled them all so tight with each other. And now we have like, there's already a regional championship qualifier, and you qualify to the PT that is February 2025. To me, this is something that should be touched a little bit by the RC. So like we're gonna have some people that qualify maybe this weekend or the weekend next that they have to just defer because they don't have like they can't ask for work for vacations. You know what I mean. There's like a bunch of problems like that will make people defer maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is probably related to the fact that it's different parties. Like WotC is doing the PTs, but the other organizers are doing the RCs, right? So what will be best for WotC in terms of like organizing an event or scheduling an event is not the same as the other party, right? Like, like the ones in Europe are made from different. I assume every region has a different organizer, and I think that's probably why. Like even the stores are also different organizers, right? So three steps are made by three different organizers, and I think that's the origin of this like situation. I do think that's probably fixable in a way. Like at the very least, what you can do is just have your RC season just qualify not for the next PT but the PT after in a way. That will probably just like create somewhat of a logistic like space where you can just do your RC like in a wider range without like putting like I'm pretty sure some people just couldn't fly in time with reasonable price like Brazil or whenever it's far away or expensive enough where that becomes an issue. And also there's one thing is like some players are in situations where if they do well in a PT they are qualified for next PTs and Worlds or whatever. By well I mean like decent result or something. But if they don't do that, they miss day 2, they don't have a spot for the next RC. I think that's also kind of weird because you have a situation where people are playing RCQs, right? Just in case they don't day 2 the PT. So they're kind of taking slots from people. I think that's a feel bad. Like I can see why someone will feel bad losing to someone in the finals of a RCQ just because they're playing for just in case I don't day to a PT or whatever. And I'm not sure how impactful that will be for the RC, but I think that will probably avoid feels bad situations. One for the players, like if you're on the train in the PT, playing every PT, and then you fall. I think having one RC back, like one RC invite, will be fine. Like I don't think it will be super disruptive or anything. And I think it will make these players probably feel better. But also, like more importantly, I think for the overall like environments on the RCQ, just having these players there, because by definition these players are going to be like the ones that are more likely to win the PTQs anyway, the RCQs. And I think that situation now is there in the system, it's happening, and I don't think it creates a good environment for both type of players inside like these stores where there's going to be a lot of like feeling bad situation. I don't know, that's my impression. I think that could be fixable easily. I think
I can give you my example. Like I've won 2 RCQ in the past months, and I ended up never using that invite because I ended up qualifying to the RC with additional ways. So you can say that the people that lost the final against me are not qualified to the RC.
Yeah, kind of.
But
well, yeah, and that's a thing, right?
Like I will play another RCQ next week, but so. I guess that always has been the thing, though. If you remember, even in the past with PTQs, like I would win PTQs and then I would, I don't know, top 8 a GP. Not my case, but other people did. And then you kind of qualify with multiple ways. So I think that one is more like, sure, you can say that if you qualify to the PT, you're qualified to the RC of the current season and the next one. You could say that.
It's the difference between the situation of what you said about PTQs and GPs is like, okay, I win a PTQ and then I top it a GP. That's actually not very likely, right? Like this was not super common. The thing is now there's a situation where a lot of players need to go like, I need to go like 4-4 to qualify for the next PT. So they're actually big favorites to qualify for the next PT, but they're gonna still play the RCQ. That's a very different thing, like saying like, well, if I top 8 the PT, I will, change PTs. That's a different thing. Like, I think the difference is like now that is way more likely to happen. That's why I think maybe it's a situation where like what I would propose is like I think saying if you play a PT, you got a PT slot for an RC slot for the next tournament. I think that's actually not that good, and I think that could create a bit of too many RC invites if you think about it, right? Because that will actually make the RC bigger, and in a way, will mean less players for the RCQs. But I think this could be made based on the match points, adjusted match points, whatever they're called. You know what I mean, right? The PT points.
Yes.
Yeah.
MP.
Yeah, MP, yeah. So like you could say, like, if you have over certain AMPs, you are qualified for the next RC, right? This will actually prevent these players from taking away invites when they are like easily favored or like very likely to qualify for the next, while not flooding the RC system a lot, which I assume is the concern that will actually, like if I was designing the system, I will be concerned that giving invites to RCs to the PT players will actually flood the system and just make it like too hard to follow,
and
whatever.
okay.
I think
Yeah,
that's something that could work, I think.
Yeah, that's a decent suggestion for sure. All right, let's talk about something that has happened to a teammate of yours from Team Handshake, Stefan Schutz, that I have in front of me. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, where I share the screen and we kind of go over the topics that we talk about. Stefan won the Mox Showcase, earning an invite to the Worlds, and he did that with Yawgmoth, Black Green Yawgmoth, one of the best decks in the format in Modern. Actually played a little bit of Yawgmoth myself lately, and found the deck to be just very very fun. And this list that he played was kind of straightforward. He has the main deck Fulminator Mage. He doesn't have the One Ring, which I was playing with, but overall I think it's a definitely a good version of a good deck. And yeah, it's nice. Actually, both the final was with a Yawgmoth mirror match. Both the 2 players were the only 2 Golgari Yawgmoth players in the tournament. So yeah, definitely one of the best decks, if not the best deck, leading up to Modern Horizons 3. That actually, Javier, as we speak, actually few hours from when we speak, there's going to be the official preview starting on twitch.tv/magic. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that.
You mean like they're gonna preview cards?
Yeah, they're gonna officially preview card. There has been a lot of leaks. I don't like to talk about that, but Wizards will definitely preview cards. I also have a preview card next week. I hope it didn't get leaked by the time they give it to me, but we'll see.
Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about like what Modern Horizons will do to mod. Like it's gonna certainly change the metagame a bit, but it's hard to tell like how much. Do you think it will be like a fast change, or do you think it will be like a slow, the classic where things take time?
Well, so we had last year, right? The Lord of the Rings set, which there was the Pro Tour. It was modern, and you definitely saw a change there with the One Ring and the Orcish Bowmaster and etc. I'm expecting Modern Horizons 3 to be a lot more cards than the few ones that were in Lord of the Rings. So I expect the Pro Tour to be, just so many new decks. So I'm very excited for that. I think they really take the Modern Horizon sets as occasion to put like 50 more cards into the format, not just like 5 or 6 or 8 like they did with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I think I think it was McWinsos, or I don't know, like saw a tweet someone said like, well, Lord of the Rings actually was not Modern Horizons because sure it has the One Ring and Orcish Master, but what is the third best card of Lord of the Rings? I was like, all right, like
Yeah, I mean, you can say it was Lauren revealed, the lighted offling.
Yeah.
There's definitely,
yeah, there were some, but they were not
nothing,
like nothing but impactful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was like,
not
right.
as impactful as Modern Horizons.
Yeah, I was like,
Modern Horizons 2.
Yeah, like where you have like all the incarnations or whatever, rag events and all these things. Like if even you look at Jammoth, like Jammoth is a Modern Horizons deck, right? Like it has Greased and Jammoth itself. Like those cards are, they are still.
It's funny. Yawgmoth was like this lower tier deck, but they just printed a bunch of cards in a row. Like this set had both Orcish Bowmaster, Lighted Offling. Then the set after had Agatha Soul Cauldron, and all of a sudden it went from being like this, and then they also banned Fury, and so it went from being like this, and now they banned Violent Outburst, which was like the worst matchup. Team Aranas was the worst matchup for Yawgmoth. So it went from being like the fun modern deck to being like a very good deck, and actually they banned all the cards that were preying on it. So all of a sudden it's the best deck. It kind of it all happened in not that long.
Do you think they will print an strictly anti-Yamoth card? I think it's likely, actually.
I mean, they usually how to say, like, they clearly print anti cards for sure, but they also just push everything so much that it just naturally becomes like when they printed, let's say, Shardless Agent. They just pushed Cascade so much that it became extremely powerful. Um, so they can just push another archetype, like 5 other archetypes so much that anything that does, like, this is what I say. For example, Creativity is one of those decks, or maybe Hammer Time, that didn't get a card in so long, and everything else did. So everything else just naturally became better and better, and just left those decks behind. So this is what sometimes also happens with a format like Modern, with these with these powerful cards that get added to the format.
The power creep, they say. Yeah. I mean, what would be an anti-Yamoth card? I think a good anti-Yamoth card would be like a 2-mana, 2/2, protection from black, cost a totem text, for example, right? That could be,
Okay.
for example, or Hexproof from black or
Yeah.
whatever, Like, I think that would be the type of card I will expect to see printed if they wanted to make Yamoth not as dominant as it looks like it is. I mean, of course, the set was made before Yamoth actually became that good, so it's probably not going to happen. But like, they often print these cards that are like sort of like safety, nets against these type of decks. That said,
Yeah,
though,
because
yeah, Yamoth is hard to attack. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm assuming that when they tested Modern Horizons 3, they had Violent Outburst legal, and they probably also had Fury legal, because it was banned, like, what was it, like last December? So that certainly made the set before December 2023.
Yeah, I expect one anti-Yamoth card. I expect one very strong punish to Orc, the same way Orc was a punish to Ragavan.
Okay, Orcish
Yeah,
bonus, yeah.
I expect a 2 or 3 drop that actually preys on Bowmasters. I also expect a card advantage engine that does not draw cards for the same reason.
Mhm.
I also expect good cards, at least like 2 or 3 very good cards against the Incarnations, like cards that are like against the no mana card or whatever, but also cards that are maybe better if they have fewer cards on their hand. Like the Dragon in the new set. That's 7/7, I guess, -1/-1 for each card in my opponent's hand.
Okay.
Yeah, something modern power level. You know what I mean? Like something that actually punishes your opponent for having these cards or having less cards in their hand. I don't know. I think those cards, this type of cards, will actually shake things. Because I don't think we will. I mean, maybe something like another Ragavan type of card that's a 1-drop that's just broken, but that's like not one toughness and probably not in red. That's also something that I will expect if I will expect to shake the metagame.
Yeah, well,
I don't know
you
many of
have
the cards. I don't know how many. I don't know how many cards have been spoiled. Like, I have not been following much, but
yeah. So you have the Nethergoyf, which I think is a very powerful 1-drop. Its power and toughness is like basically your great. It's a Tarmogoyf that only counts your graveyard, but has escape. So it's basically a one mana threat that you can play in a deck with Mishra's Bubble, Dragon's Root Channeler, and etc. And it could be like a large threat. Like, I can see this thing going, fetch land bubble this thing, and it's a 2/3. You play a lightning bolt on your opponent creature, it's a 3/4 attack. Like, this is something that can go with the Nethergoyf, which is I think a very powerful card, and I I can see, yeah, it's you have some powerful reprints like Kappa Cannoneer, Lily of the Bladed Forge, which actually combos with Cascade. I'm pretty sure that's the case. If you play like Lele and then you play Shardless Agent, this becomes huge.
you Lele with Cascade?
Yeah,
If you
because you
play,
exiled it. Yeah, whenever one or more cards are put into exile from your graveyard, apparently, I think that's what I heard. Yeah, you don't just get one counter, but you get a lot of counters.
what?
It's
No,
yeah,
does it? It says one or more. Cascade is more.
I know. I don't know. That's what I heard. It's like the pact, Tainted Pact, also combos with Lelia.
Well, because it's again like repeat the process until right. That's what Cascade says.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, okay.
That's
Could be the case if it says
you have
repeat the process or repeat
yeah
again and again. I mean, maybe that's
yeah you have
flavor.
this You have the new Flare of Denial. I wanna hear your opinion on this. Like a cold, because I don't think Flare of Denial is very good. This is a one blue instant. You may sacrifice a non-blue creature rather than paying its cost, and you can counter target spell. And this is like a free counter spell, but it's not that free because you have to cast a blue card. It's not like Force of Negation. That's actually free. You're using cards in your hand. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. So yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think this is very good. But
Well, first of all, they know Force of Negation is one of the best cards in Modern. Force of Negation might actually be the best interactive card in the whole format, and I think that's been the case for a while. I don't know if you agree, but I think it is. This to start with, this probably means they're printing a new Force cycle. This probably means the blue one is not likely going to be good.
okay.
That's before even reading the card. That's not likely because they also don't clearly will not like Modern to be like Legacy where decks are for Force of Will, for Force of Negation, and then do something. I think that could be a bad thing for the format. I think they know it. So before reading the card, that's it. Like for the same reason, actually, I will not be surprised if like there's at least one of these cards that are very good. But like one, like the forces are the blue one is great, and the red one, the green one is good, but the other ones are not good. So I think one of these colors might get like a very good flare, assuming the flares are the cycle. I will expect one of
Yeah.
them to be. It's not that hard to make a red flare that's actually very good.
Yeah.
I don't know what it will be, but maybe sacrifice a creature and then do like I don't know, do something.
4 damage.
No, I'm more talking about like exile 2 cards. You can play them next 2 turns, and then 2 damage to creature and 2 damage to a player. Something like this.
Yeah.
Like it's Modern,
Yeah.
so your card. You need your cards to be like punishing against something. But like that said, though, this one specifically, it looks. I mean, I'm probably gonna be wrong here, but it looks pretty bad. So obviously 3 mana cancel, not good. I think Counterspell itself is sort of starting to be like not powerful enough for Modern. I think the Modern power creep has gone like super fast. Like when Modern got Counterspell, it actually made more tight. Like it was goodish. Now Counterspell is not as good. Obviously, cards like the Lighted Halfling definitely have something to do, but like the fact that if you're playing against a somewhat power deck, you're in the draw and you have a Counterspell, they're gonna have like a Scion on turn 2. Like the fact that Counterspells are a little bit slow on the draw, I think makes them a little bit weaker overall. But this one is a 3 mana. Like the face value, obviously, it's not great. And then you can say, okay, but you can play it for free. The issue is though, you need to sacrifice a non-token blue creature. Well, blue creatures will cost at least 1 mana, often 2. This means you are going to be like paying 2 mana or 1 mana plus a card for a counterspell. This does not add very well together, does it? I mean, if counterspell is just like fine card in the metagame, why will counterspell losing 1 card will be much better? I understand the flexibility counts. Like if you're playing a Merfolk deck, which I assume this card is made for Merfolk in a way. The issue is though, Merfolk relies on having creatures to attack. Like if you're playing this card in a deck that's pressuring with creatures, well, losing your clock is actually very bad. I think this could be fine if it was worded differently, but even the way it's worded, like you could pair this card with a token generator enchantment or even with Mutable, right? Because this card will be great for Mutable, but you have to sacrifice a blue creature, so it doesn't even combo with that. And for that reason, I think this card is probably going to be unplayable. Obviously, I will have to try it a bit to get a better. Like I think this card, if you play 2 games with it, you will know. But it looks to me like it's gonna be very bad. That's it.
It's always hard to have an opinion on free cards because you just like in the same way that Incarnations last set with Modern Horizons 2, they just people were not very high on them. Like Fury was €5 for many months and ended up being banned. Subtlety was €5 for many months and now it's ended up getting Rhinos banned. So I feel like free cards in general are just hard to evaluate, but on the surface, I think we both agree that this card doesn't seem very good.
I think it looks
A card,
bad, but subtlety
yeah.
subtlety looked good. So I mean, sorry, bad. Also, it was good at the end. So maybe
card that looks good though, it's Ugin's Labyrinth. This is this is like a Chrome Mox, similarly to a Chrome Mox. So what you do is this is a land, and it says when it comes into play, you may exile a colorless card with mana value 7 or more from your hand. This adds a colorless, but if you exile the card with it, it exiles 2 colorless instead. And then you have the ability to tap and return the exiled card to its owner's hand. So what you can do with this is you play this, you pitch, I don't know, Ulamog or Card Liberated, and you have an Ancient Tomb in your hands. And then later, when you have, used your Ancient Tomb, that doesn't deal you damage, of course, so your 2 mana land, your Soul Ring land, you can return the card that you pitched and actually cast it. This is something that makes maybe you can play, yeah, just maybe it's there's a lot of Eldrazi's in the set. I'm assuming that people will definitely try Eldrazi-tron a lot, and this land can exchange very much speed for cards in your hand.
Well, I mean, this card looks obviously like a Tron card. Like this is just meant to be played by Tron. Well, this could be good in Tron. I don't know if it's correct, but like this is probably the first Soul Ring land in Modern, right?
Yeah. Again, this is powerful because it's doing something that Modern doesn't like to do. Like they ban Simian Spirit Guide. Like they don't want you to have 2 mana very early.
Well, this card looks powerful to me. Like I think that
Yeah.
this card's pushed. Like I see this card and I say like, well, this is a Modern Horizons power level card. Like I don't know if it's gonna be good. Like I don't think this card will be good in a normal Tron deck. I'm not necessarily sure an Eldrazi Tron deck that has this is actually good enough to compete, because obviously this will be great in Eldrazi Tron. Turn 2 Thought Not Seer is an actual it's a very good play, because you can just play like this into Eldrazi Temple and build Eldrazi, but also Eldrazi's are not that good anymore because of power creep. So
Yeah. Exactly. All the other Eldrazi are pretty weak. You have the Devourer of Destiny that goes well with it. This is a 7 mana card that you can pitch to the Ugin Labyrinth, and this has the quote unquote it's like a fixed once upon a time effect. You can reveal this in your opening hand, and you can look at the top 4 cards, and you can put one of those on top of your deck. So it's not.
well, this card's good.
And you can pitch it to the Ugin's Labyrinth, and then later you can get this back, cast the spell, and exile target permanent. That's one of more colors. So you get your 6/6 that does like the Angel of what was it called? The Angel of
Despair, I think.
the Angel of Despair. It used to be played in Reanimator back in the days. So obviously this is when you cast, so you can't ephemerate it, bunch of thing. But
This
there's
is a good card.
again,
I
like,
think that's Marvel power level again.
yeah, you have the Emrakul, the new Emrakul of the world, and so you clearly have the Null Drifter. That's the Null Drifter with Evoke. So you like clearly have power level, and I'm very excited because I think that Modern Horizons 2 sparked my made me spark love for Modern, for Magic Online. I was an arena streamer only. Thanks to Modern Horizons 2, I came back to Modern, to Magic Online. So I'm now. Did you know that Magic Online made the creators, right?
Yeah.
Like the creator program. So I got into the creator program. We have our our God account. We're gonna have a tournament soon with all the competitors. So it's gonna be exciting. I'm happy to be a Magic Online content creator,
Nice.
and definitely look forward to play more Modern in a few weeks. So this is very exciting news for me. I'll definitely be looking at previews today. Okay, let's talk about another news that actually happened 7 days ago, although we didn't do a podcast last week. It is the banned and restricted announcement.
All the
I would say,
Anthony formats.
yeah, exactly. Anthony isn't here, so we can talk about it. This announcement banned all the stickers and attractions cards. So those are cards that were from the Infinity added to Legacy, Vintage, and Pauper. So all those cards are now banned in these formats. And in addition to that, you have all the glitters banned in Pauper. So I can say that the all the glitters banned in Pauper should have happened months ago. There was a Poppergeddon where all that glitters was like 4/8 of the top eight with an insane conversion rate. The deck was clearly super pushed. It turned the format into a snuff out versus all that glitters. You either had to play one or the other, and now it's gone. So maybe now the format will probably be shaken up a lot with Modern Horizons 3, but at least we don't have to keep up with an uncommon that shouldn't have been downshifted. So I'm happy they did that again. Similarly to Monastery Swift Spear, could have happened a little bit before because it was kind of obvious, but it happened. So I'm glad that that's gone. And in addition to that, also the name sticker goblin is banned in all of the Eternal formats, and maybe we'll see some changes in the future where cards only get added to Commander and not also to Legacy, Vintage, and Pauper. Um, yeah, I have a Legacy tournament soon. The Four Seasons is going to be not this weekend, the one after. So I definitely have to play some more Legacy. What about you, Javier? Do you plan on playing Legacy in the near future?
Well, I don't know actually, because I'm gonna change location, and I might actually just play more Paper Magic. I actually went to an RCQ last week. I forgot to mention that. I swiftly went 0-2 drop. But I think I might, at least, like, I've never played much Paper Magic. That's something people might not be aware of. I was usually, like, I was always a Magic Online kid, even when I was young, because I couldn't play that much paper. So I'm in a point where I might just try to be a little bit more like you, sometimes go to a local store and play some, some small tournaments or whatever, which is something I have barely done in my life. And if I do that, I might just jump into, who knows, like some legacy tournaments, or whatever is in front of me. So there's maybe.
Yeah, so I want your opinion. Again, we don't have Anthony, so we can talk about Legacy. I want your opinion on this deck because I was planning on streaming it tomorrow. It's playing a card that is. I've played one match with this deck, and this card has been insane. So it's called Eris Roar of the Storm. It costs 10 mana. It's 8 blue and red, but it costs 2 less for each different mana value among instant and sorceries in your graveyard, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you have sorry, and check out the text. Flying Prowess 4/4. Whenever you cast your second spell, you make a red dragon with flying and prowess.
Whoa.
So my sequencing was I fill my graveyard with 5-drop between Forceful and Lorien Revealed, 4-drop with Fire and Ice, 3-drop with Force of Negation, 2-drop with Daze, 1-drop with Ponder and Brainstorm, and you even have 6-drop with Pyrokinesis. And then you cast this, and in the same turn you play like a Ponder, and you make a 4/4.
So, 90% lethal next turn. Well, this card is definitely legacy power level, yeah.
Yeah. And this is something that, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to try it. I still don't know what to play. There is Orcish Bowmaster legal. There is Grief legal. All the Legacy players are very upset about it. I haven't played too much Legacy too.
I mean, I don't know why Grief is still legal. There? I mean, I said here, like, they should have banned Grief and not Fury. They should have banned Grief a few times already, and they should have banned Grief from... Grief is just not, like... Grief is like a good Chalice of the Void. It just makes games worse, I feel. Like, I like Thought's effects, but double Thought's effects are just, like, not... Like, it just... Thought's is supposed to be an interactive card. Grief make it so the games are not interactive a lot of times. So that's my opinion. I have not played Legacy since the last time I played a lot for the mocks, but I already... Like, Grief was already very good. I actually played, like, Blue Black, Reanimator, Grief, whatever it's called now. But... yeah, I don't think Grief adds fun to the format from my perspective. So for me, I will not miss it if once it's gone from Modern and Legacy. I still don't understand why they banned Fury, not Grief, but that's it.
Yeah, that was unexpected and probably wrong. But I don't think Grief is a problem in Modern at all now. It's delayed, but.
Yeah.
It's
just not about power level.
Not even.
Yeah, no, it's not good enough. It's not good enough to be banned. Yeah. No, that's for sure. And in Legacy,
you certainly don't ban it.
It might not be too good for Legacy as well, but then again, sometimes things are not too good.
Yeah, when I was thinking about banning cards, I was thinking about Orcish Bowmaster because that's the way they approach ban lists these days in Legacy. They just ban the cheap card that goes into the Delver deck. They don't ban the card that gets played by Reanimator or cards like that. So yeah, like we've seen all the ban list of Legacy have always hit
But I
Delver
think they might
decks.
have learned. I mean, remember, Delver got better once they banned Ragavan. Like, and Delver will get better if they ban Orcish Masters, because those are cards Delver decks play to beat the mirror match, because they are bad against the other decks. So I think at this
But
point,
Orc is also
no.
very good against control
Which is
decks,
also good, because
and they
that's the other macro type that's been forever dominated Legacy. Like, I think at some point,
mm,
if they make the same thing again and again, they will realize if you do the same thing again and again, the same deck is going to be on top, because they're they're following the same pattern. I think I think Orcish Masters makes Delver worse, even though it's yeah. I think also the Orc is kind of an interesting card to play with and against. Like, I think it has a lot of dancing room. Like, it has a lot of play where grief simply doesn't. Like, just get griefed and die. So yeah, I was honestly surprised by how fun I felt the Orc was in terms of like the gameplay, because Orc, like, it reads like an Narset, right? Narset was not a very fun card to play because it just made so you could not play your cards, but Orc is just like easy to interact with, and you often have more space to actually play around it as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you look at the numbers, maybe Orcish is the best ban just number wise, but that will make Delver better, and also, I think it will probably make the format a bit worse in terms of gameplay.
no, honestly, like I think if they ban Orc, the whole like blue black scam deck goes down very much, and Grief returns to just getting played in Reanimator. Where if they open Grief, Reanimate on Grief, it's usually like you're so happy about it,
Yes, yeah.
So I feel like similarly to Modern, like Grief is fine, and it's actually not very good. I think they should have, if they wanted to ban something from the scam deck, they should have banned that over Fury. But as things are, I don't think we're gonna be, hearing too much about Grief in Modern, especially with MH3. But like yeah, to this day we don't hear it. I mean, Scam is still like the most played deck on Magic Online because we have now the full data, right? Because they're publishing all the deck lists, not just the top 8 or top 32. But it's not that the results match the win rate match the how much the deck is played, and that's always something that I believed in, that Scam isn't actually very good. It was just overplayed. And so again, I'm not defending Grief. I have like if they ban it from existence, I'm not crying. But I'm not. Yeah, I like to defend the meta game as it is. And again, I don't know much about Legacy lately because I have followed all the other competitive formats, and it's so difficult to follow every format. But I try, and now I want to try Ares Roar of the Storm, which I actually don't own, and my trusty vendor doesn't have it, so now I have to find it. If you're listening to this podcast and have it, I want it.
Yeah, it's probably one of these sets. I don't even know the name. By the way,
Yeah, no idea where this card is
yeah.
from. No idea.
What,
Zero chances.
once again, you see two surveillance here because they're everywhere.
Ooh, surveillance. I was going to say it. That's so crazy. So
Well,
crazy.
I wanted to ask because I think it was Canister tweeting that, well, fetching for Surveil land is actually similar than a Consider.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. Fetching. So let's take the Canister always has his polls and his weird looking cards. Very very on brand tweet by him. He's if you think about it, fetching a Surveil land is literally casting Consider. Crazy. Discuss. So basically, what you're doing is you fetch, you use your land that would have gotten a Watery Grave, but instead you look at the top card, and if you like it, you put it in the graveyard, and then you untap and draw. If you don't like it, if you like it, you leave it there, untap and draw. If you don't like it, you just put it in the graveyard. And yeah, I know that's very true, and that's the reason why the surveillance are so popular these days in modern, and as you saw now, even in Legacy, and also Consider kind of disappeared before it was a played card, but now you don't see this card anymore in the formats with fetchlands in modern, I would say.
Well, that's I saw this and I was like, oh, that's actually in a way nailing it, right? I don't know.
Yeah. And the comment even say that you gain 2 life because you don't have to go watery gray for it. And that's true. You don't even have to get it fixes your mana too. So no, for sure. Again, I was playing this deck, and when you surveil into the graveyard, pyrokinesis, for example, you just make your Ares Roar the Storm and Murktide better. I mean, again, you're literally, and then you can daze and replay the fetch again. I was already doing that when I was playing that Sultai Scam deck. I was playing only one. This one plays two. Uh, you can also play Submerge. That's another powerful card
Oh, true. Yeah, I
for,
mean they're
for free.
like they're just like it looks like they are just simply gonna be good enough. I mean,
And I guess
I don't
I
want to.
didn't mention
I
after
don't want to
this
say. I
one.
don't want to say forever, but pretty much forever with fetchlands. Like I assume even in Commander or whatever, there's just no way if you play fetchlands, you're not playing the surveillance anymore. I will say.
Yeah, yeah. In every format where fetch lands are legal, the surveillance will be happy.
Yeah, I have not played with
Will be
them,
happy to come
and
with you.
yeah, I have not played with them that much yet. But they also like I've watched some games, and they're also like kind of decision intensive. Like it's not that easy to decide when to get the Scryland sometimes, like the Surveilland. Like
Oh,
it's interesting as well.
okay. Deck building wise, this Yawgmoth deck is playing 2 Underground Mortuary, which is the black green survey land, in a deck with a ton of 1 drop. And as I was playing Yawgmoth, all I wanted to do was just to add more lands. I ended up adding like 2 lands. I cut the Gilded Goose and Ignoble Hierarch, and I just added 2 fetch lands because very often I wanted to cast like a 4 drop, like the One Ring and such, and my 1 drop would die, whereas my fetch land into survey land wouldn't die and would get me the option to no flood or curve out and etc. So even in a deck like Yawgmoth, I just always wanted to have more survey land. I was playing 2, but I sometimes when I was fetching for the 3rd time and I was like, oh wow, I don't have a 3rd survey land. I hate this. You
But
know.
basically, casting considering Jammoth.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday I recorded a league with Burn. I streamed Burn, and I didn't have any survey land, and it happened a couple of times that I just fetched for a Sacred Foundry tapped, and I felt like I was wasting so much value by not having a survey
Yeah,
land.
even Burn should play Def. Yeah, I think all the decks that play fetchlands should play one Surveilland and often two. I think.
Yeah, so we have JMM who played Prowess. I think both the 2 people that played Prowess, him and Kobaron, they both had. Oh no, actually, just JMM. He had a Thundering Falls, which I think is very right. And I was seeing all the Prowess decks without a Survey Land. I was like, this can't be right. I was playing Garul, and I had my Survey Land. Very very important. Actually, Yamaris Merkel list of prowess is very different. He's playing 3 Ragavan and 3 Pierce main, so very much a different take on the prowess archetype. Maybe actually I can stream with this in the next days.
Well,
All
it's
right,
definitely. I
give me
mean,
some
JMM, he knows what he's doing, so
for sure.
like definitely
Yeah,
worth
yeah,
trying.
yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah.
mean, the land, like it has to be right. Like it's just if you don't play the land, you're assuming you're never ever having a situation where you're not using all your mana. That's just not how Magic works. Sometimes you mulligan, sometimes you flood, sometimes they thought is you and then removal or whatever. Like it's just like too easy for fetchling to consider for free being useful, and especially in a deck with Channeler and Breach. But that's even with no synergy like in Burn, it doesn't matter how fast your deck is. If you play fetchlands, it's just like the decks are never that efficient. Like sometimes you just
And it's
yeah, like because so there's one thing. If your curve is low enough that you're always gonna be like, no, I'm using all my mana. Well, by definition, that means if the game goes longer than 3-4 turns, you will have no cards because your cards are cheap enough, right? So even if that situation, which is the worst situation for Tablan, it's still worth it. So there's no way, I think.
especially in Burn where your 3rd land is gone. Like you draw a 4th land, you just keep the draw step.
Yeah, pretty much.
So whenever you surveil a land to the graveyard, you like time walk.
Actually, casting consider for free, like
So
extra card.
yeah, yeah. Another realization that I got when I was playing prowess is that when you go Slick Shot Show Off Mishra's Bubble, you're casting Scrave Rate, but instead of you losing to life, your opponent loses to life.
Yeah.
It's another fun realization of the combo. Slick show off bubble.
I mean, show off.
A very powerful card.
Show off is as
Yeah.
good as it looked, right? I mean, we thought this card will be just straight playable in modern, and I think for once
It
we got
was.
it right.
Yeah, I would say for once.
Well, I mean, we just got the surveillance so bad that we missed that so much that I think I can say for once for a while.
I was still a lover of the Surveil land, even though you keep on saying that.
Well, because you love every single card, so that's easier.
No, I said I dislike the Flare of the Nile. All
Well,
right,
for
let's
once.
let's move topic. Let's move topic, and let's talk about some other formats.
Well,
So
I want to
competitive.
say something about the stickers first because we actually skipped a little bit of that. I think this is a good thing. The fact that the stickers are off the tournament magic, I think, scene are good. Like, I think some mechanics, like I understand these commander cards are put in legacy because that's probably better for product and the such. But I think mechanics like that should be worded in a way where they just don't get into tournaments. Like if you say the stickers start in a command zone or whatever, that's fine. Like just make them in a way where only works in multiplayer formats. Like initiative also falls into that category, I think. Like these mechanics that are like very powerful sometimes and they just like destroy these formats. I think it's just probably not worth it, right? It's not like they're gonna sell that much more if the format gets killed. So
So
I think it's a good
there's
change.
also there's also maybe a broader topic that we can discuss about this is what if all the commander cards are actually only commander legal and they don't go into legacy? Like, would you think that legacy player are sad about this? If tomorrow they say, how Modern Horizons 3 actually has a commander set that's called Modern Horizons 3 Commander that's not legally modern but only legally legacy, vintage and pauper.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, so they made a Modern Horizon 3 Commander product not legally modern. So the branding is a little bit off there. But let's say, all the cards that are in that set are not legally legacy.
I do have thoughts on this matter. So I think the issue
Okay.
of like, so you can do the things. Either you keep it this way or you do what you say, right? Like legacy is only like non-commander product. So the only issue is something that's happening on Cube already. Like if you let the commander cards being legal in legacy, what happens is it's only a matter of time, and it's actually happening every time faster, that legacy will be basically brainstorm, force of will, and commander constructed, right? Because the commander cards are like they easily go through less testing pressure. Like if you release a commander product and the card's a bit too good, it doesn't matter, right? I assume they actually put less thought on those. That's why sometimes like White Plume Adventurer cards are printed because they happen and it's fine. So I think Legacy will probably be much better if the commander cards will not be there. I think at this point it's like just not upside. Like I'm pretty sure you know people that just don't play Legacy anymore because there has too many commander cards. Like we all know people like that. And you can be like, well, but then Legacy gets tailed and it doesn't change much. That's not true though, because Modern Horizons actually always has like enough power to to have Legacy playable cards. Like I think about it, every single Modern Horizons set actually shaked Legacy a lot as well. Like every time there was a card like Orcish Bowmaster, Ragavan, all these cards actually, Murktide Region, they impacted the format very strongly. So I think this downside of Legacy being all the same, which maybe was the case 10 years ago, I think that's not true thanks to Modern Horizons. And I think because of that, it will probably be better for the formats so it doesn't become like Legacy. Like all the tunnel formats, they have this upside where you can stop playing for a month or two or whatever, or some months, and you just get back and your deck's still fine. That's something the tunnel formats have. I think enough commander products actually change this. Just think of Initiative. Initiative just pretty much ruined Legacy for like 3 months, right? And
Yeah,
and that's the same.
yeah. This is definitely an opinion that you share, and but there's also the other side of it is that commander cards lets you be so much more creative. Like for example, this card here, Ares Roar of the Storm. I mean, sure, you can put this in a normal set, but you probably wouldn't. And I think Legacy is just better with this card.
Well, this card could be a Modern
And
Horizons card though, right?
Yeah, but like it's just I make so many cards in Commander. Like again, I don't even know what set is this from. I'm sure they had like 1,000 cards, and we only know maybe this card, and it's just one in 1,000 that gets in. And personally, I'm happy to see Pyrokinesis, a card from Alliance, 1996, get C play again in the main deck because of this card and because of Up the Beanstalk. And I think that's part of the reason why you would play Legacy and not pre-modern or old school is that you still want to have like new cards change your like you don't want to play Ancient Tomb Chalice only, but sometimes you play like I don't know Ancient Tomb, Steam Spirit Guy, Broads and Bombardiers, and that player is happy, and I feel like I mean maybe because I play so many formats that you know, I'm happy to see diversity, but I think Legacy gives me this like, different thing and seeing the new cards added to Legacy, I'm happy. So Commander cards make it more likely to be the case.
But I don't think that's
Miskin Boo,
true.
for example.
I think White Blight Plumber Adventure or the old initiative cards actually made the format less diverse because you could only play those decks. And I think the Goblin sticker also make the format less diverse because it just Goblins was a tier 1 and all the other prison decks weren't playable because of that. Like I think your point is true, but also is a point against the commander card. Like so, there's two type of commander cards. Like this Eris card is a card that could be a Modern Horizons card, right? This could be perfectly on the Modern Horizons set. Will this break Modern? No. Is this card even better than Mortal Regent? Well, probably not, but maybe it's similar. Like it occupies a similar space. I think cards that are like this, they are fine, but those are cards are not like the ones that usually break through Commander. The cards I'm talking about are the cards that will not be in normal sets. Like I think the Seasoned Engineer type of cards are the biggest offenders here. Like
we could say that though, like the cards you're mentioning, the Seasoned Engineer, like and Weapon Adventure are cards that
Goblin
the
Sticker
people who
also.
made them announced. Yeah, it was a mistake, and it's not something that happens every day that you have a Weplum adventurer in the format. So again, like I think that Sticker Goblin was banned because it was like so annoying to just come to a tournament with stickers, let your opponent decide what it is, and also the decks that weren't goblins were playing the stickers to put in your opponent the idea that they may play goblins. I think that was one of the more bullshit thing that of the whole thing. But outside of that, like if Namestick a Goblin was like 3 mana 2/2 Seating Song on ATB, it would be powerful. It would be played, but it wouldn't break anything. I think.
I will need to make 6 mana to be good, not 5.
Yeah,
If
yeah, I know,
if it
but
was
it doesn't
6,
make 6 mana. It doesn't
yeah,
make 6 mana that often.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's some upside of the like there's some cards, but I think the issue is since commander cards are not that tested, disasters are gonna happen often because they just simply don't have enough test. Like if you're printing a card for modern, I mean for commander, you want the card to be fun. If the card's a little bit too good, it doesn't matter. Like it's not gonna spoil the game for anyone. But if you print like a set every set and you print like 2,000 cards in 2 years, well, at least one or two they're gonna be like completely obscene, like the sticker goblin or whatever, or the adventures.
Yeah, I guess another fix could be to have more people testing, so that
Well, but at that
you don't have
point,
this thing happen.
it's even that good to test the commander cards on power level. Commander cards are meant to be fun, right? So, like this Ares card actually looks pretty fun to play with. I can gauge you that. But yeah, I think this card is
again,
could be. Do you think Miscambo will be too good for modern, for example?
Again, like if I asked the question to probably 100, like if I asked that question, asked you to 100 legacy player, probably like 95% would say, and 95 legacy players would say they don't want commander cards in legacy. I can easily see that. I'm in the 5% where I'm happy to see new cards all the time but I guess because I'm a content creator, so I need new cards, new content.
Well, definitely. I mean,
guess,
I will expect you to be better with new cards. But then again, new cards keep happening. Like I'm pretty sure some of the Modern Horizons cards are not commander cards will actually break through. Like I will expect more Modern Horizons cards to be played on Legacy than in non. Like
the complaint that I see from a lot of legacy players, which complain on a lot of things mostly, but yeah, that's not a topic. Is that modern now Legacy stale, and it went from being like a three decks format that was blue black scam, Grixis Delver, and mono red goblins to now two. You have blue black scam and Grixis Delver. So again, I don't follow the format too much, but when they banned Instinct Goblin, a lot of people are complaining that they didn't ban enough. So they want like the whole thing of like new cards giving old formats some breath of fresh air rather than just one every 3 years with Modern Horizons. I think it's better. But again, we probably don't need to go too much in deep on this topic.
No, it's a fair point. I mean, there's always like different reasons different ways to approach these things.
Yeah.
But then again, I ask the question: you think Misk and Boo will be a fine card in Modern? You think it would be good? You think it will be playable? Just a curiosity.
Well, I think Misk and Boo would be a fine card in Modern.
Like,
yes.
You think
yes,
you think it will see
think...
play? You think it will be playable even?
Yes, I think it would be. I think it would be okay in Modern Misk and Boo. Yeah, I mean 4-drop in Modern, red green. I think it's fine. Yeah, okay, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think it would be too good.
Card, but
yeah. Maybe it will not see played even. I don't know.
It dies to Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt is very much very much played. It costs 4 mana, which is very much. I mean, the Titan heals you on turn 3 pretty easily. And sure, you can play Blood Moons and such, but like the format is fast. You have Leaving Gant, which won most of the like two of the last 3 large events. The combo decks are definitely there, and a reason why Misk and Boo is powerful in Legacy is you have fast mana, you have all the Single Spirit guides. I mean, I guess not this deck, but
Force of Will also.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe
it's not very good in this deck.
Yeah, when they unbanned Jace, I felt Jace was not very good in Modern, and if they print Misk and Boo now in Modern, I will also feel like Misk and Boo will be not very good in Modern. That's my impression.
Yeah. I have the One Ring, which is probably better anyway.
In Modern, yeah, I will say so. But maybe you will play Misk and Boo in Amulet, I don't know. But I guess it could be a fine card. Sure. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they will print something similar, actually.
Okay, so right now, competitive Magic, you have, of course, the regional championship this weekend, which is standard. Naples actually leave on Thursday. I'll be playing the Friday event over there. It will be the last event of Legacy, so I'll be sad to see the Legacy European Tour ending, because they were organizing tournaments across all Europe. I was super happy to go to play these 500 plus tournament with 2 days. They haven't announced a return of those with the new organizer. I hope there will be, but I definitely look forward to more large size event. Of course, I've been claiming the return of GPs forever on social media, and I will keep on doing so until they do. But until then, so that's gonna be standard. And although if you want to go to your store right now, the tournament to play are the Pioneer ones, and actually will play one soon. And the deck I want to play, and the deck I am buying the cards for, is Mono Black Waste Knot. Javier, have you seen this deck recently?
I actually have, yeah, because I went to PTQ, RCQ, I will never get the names right. Yeah, I actually saw this deck quite a bit in action.
What did you play?
I played Phoenix.
Did you play against this deck?
No, I did not. I did not, but I got to see a lot of games of this deck.
You wouldn't be happy to get 3 go blank game 1.
Yeah, I think this deck is, my impression is this deck is good against Phoenix and good against similar decks, but not as good as it looks. This is the classic, like, a deck is supposed to be an anti-deck from some archetype, and suddenly it's actually not that good. And you can easily see why.
It's doing very well on Magic Online for sure. You have the Super Qualifier, which was this 250 per players event, first and second place, 2 of the same deck. We have the Rasta here. This is the Brazilian ex-teammate of mine for the last PT. Actually, I defeated them on my way to the Pro Tour invite. This was the final against him.
The finals, yeah.
And he's playing. There's a new card that is very, very synergistic here. It's Hostile Investigator. This is the 4 mana card from the big score set. Whenever it comes to play, your opponent discards a card, which is obviously synergistic with Waste Not, but most importantly, whenever one or more players discard a card, you investigate. So you can play this, particularly Liliana. No, I guess only triggers once a turn. But anyway, like, you just make your opponent discard cards, and as you do that, you make clues, which is, one of the problems of this deck is that you go in top deck mode, and if you draw badly, you lose the game. But I guess you have Hostile Investigator and Reckoner's Bankbuster as way to refuel. You have Gyrich Sanitarium, which is another card that goes very well with the Hostile Investigator, because you can make your opponent discard a card and it triggers it. So, there's a lot of a lot of things that deck can do, and you have a lot of ways to kill the Vein Ripper. You have Shooter Edict, Blot Out, and Liliana of the Veil, so that you don't have to go for the Throat It and sacrifice a creature which you don't have. I think this deck is powerful, and it's definitely doing well in the Pioneer Magical Line events.
Yeah, I mean, this deck is actually probably the deck to beat going forward. Not exactly the deck to beat, but the situation was like Phoenix and Vampires were like the best decks, and this one presents a good and a fine matchup, right? I mean, you could even say good against both, but at least like it's good against Phoenix and it's at least decent against Vampires, right? So when this happens, well, this often ends in a situation where D3 decks are like the deck to beat or whatever, but this could even be better than Vampires overall in terms of like the position of the metagame. The issue though, well, you see the mono green screen, like this kind of decks, they're very good targeting something, but they're just not like generically that good, right? They're gonna flood sometimes. They're gonna they can be run over. Like if you're playing against an aggro deck or whatever, this is not very good, is it? So there's a lot of situations where the deck is gonna feel like very weak, and that's why this deck, even though I like it, I'm pretty sure I will like the style, but I think it's fairly dangerous to play this on a metagame where it's kind of expected. Like hate cards against this deck will be actually good, like good, because you can, if the deck is like a tier 1, you can start playing cards like, I mean, I don't know exactly what are the best iterations of these cards in Pioneer.
Well, Reckoner Bankbuster is probably very good against this deck.
Reckoner Bankbuster is a bomb against this deck, but also cards like Punish You. I mean, there's surely a good version of the Loxodon Smither, right? For example, the one that actually copies things, the Orbar, this kind of things you can actually, these kind of cards you can maybe even play in Pioneer. They're not, if they're powered enough. Like, I'm not sure what would be the case. Like even something like a Leyland of Sanctity actually just probably wrecks this deck in a half. Like I don't think you're ever beating Leyland of Sanctity with this deck, even out of mono white soldiers. So I will be careful in this. Like I like this deck. I like how it looks. I actually like the gameplay, but I think it's a dangerous proposition to play a mono black deck like this if you're not like prepared to actually beat cards or try to beat you. I mean, Leyland might be among the best, right? That has to be a good one.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention a deck that won yesterday's Pioneer Challenge from Adzax, and he brought back Mono Green Devotion, replacing Karn. I guess not replacing Karn, but the deck plays 4 Outcast Trailblazer. So this is a new card from Outlaw of Thunder Junction, 3 mana 4/2. When it comes to play, you add a mana, you can plot this, and whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enter the battlefield, you draw a card. So this is it's like basically an additional Kiora in that regards, and you draw cards, of course, casting Cavalier of Thorn, Old Growth Troll, and so on. You're also playing Lilian of the Guild Pact, which adds 4 mana with Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. And yeah, so this is the old mono green deck that disappeared when they banned Karn. But with this challenge win, maybe it's going to put the deck back in the map. Because, people that were playing this deck probably still own every card, and they just then need to buy Trailblazer, and here you have it.
Well, that's the thing. This deck surely is very good against mono black Waste Not. Like, if you think about it, just like 8 Kioras against a discard deck. Well, that's like top deck storm, exactly. Top deck Storm the Festival, you die. Like Cavalier of Thorns being super annoying. Boseiju dealing with Waste Not, even though they get 1 trigger. And in the sideboard, you can see like Obstinate Baloth, ready to show up when they play Go Blank, and you can just maybe put 2 battles in the battle. Imagine you play, Go Blank, and you put 2 battles on the battlefield. Like, how are they ever getting back from that? Like,
no, I know, yeah, for sure. That's why I wanted to kind of highlight this, as in, like, Pioneer is a format that definitely moves, and despite Phoenix is very, very good in Chicago, I think the format kind of passed it, or like, there's other things. You don't need to ban anything.
Like, I think Phoenix is the best deck, but there's 3 things actually. Like, 1, it is not the best deck by a lot. 2, the format has a space to adapt, that you can actually build decks that are good against Phoenix. And 3, even if it's the best deck by a little bit too much compared to other formats, I think Phoenix is a good best deck, if you know what I mean. Like, it leads into gameplay decisions and the such. Like, I think Phoenix being a best deck is much better than Mono Green Devotion being the best deck, where the games are just like playing against the wall and the such. So I think Pioneer is, considering how much I disliked Pioneer a year ago, I don't know if you remember. You also disliked it, so we were talking about like how the gameplay is the worst. I actually think Pioneer is good. Like, you play Westnut against vampires, the games are interesting there. There's a lot of decisions. I think Pioneer it could be the best format right now in terms of gameplay, which I still think it's true after the PT, and I've played a bit of it. And I think there's also a lot of deck building possibilities in the format. Like this Mono Green. Obviously Asak played Mono Green a lot, so he's like a Mono Green master. But this makes sense. Like the positioning on this like metagame is good. Oh yeah, you also showed the screen. This the blue card, the Prophetic Memory. I actually tried this card a bit, and I felt like it was quite bad.
Let's say what it does. So, showed on screen the finalist X Whale. He had 2 Prophetic Memory in his deck. 1 in a blue legendary enchantment. When it comes to play, you draw a card. You have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you draw more than 1 card, you put X+1/+1 counter on a creature, where X is the number of cards you've drawn -1. So what you do is, I guess, you take a draw step, then you play a Consider or an Opt, and then you all of a sudden put a +1/+1 counter on your Picklock Prankster, Legend Trader, whatever it is.
Yeah, but you can also cruise and then put 3 more counters. Like, okay,
right.
This card is powerful in this deck, right? Like this card, sometimes it's you play the mid game and it means 2 mana, put 5 counters, and then put 5 counters next turn. Like, this actually plays very well with the Pranksters and makes it so your Goldfish kill is much faster, right? And if you're playing against a deck like Blue White Control, where they're trying to kill everything you got, like, Memory lets you have, like, this basically means every Prankster is a game-winning threat, and that's very useful, right? So on that level, the card's good. Like, I played the card, and it was like, it's a powerful card in the shell. Like, the card synergizes well with Phoenix and plays okay. The issue, though, it's more often a structural issue. So one is like, this card makes the deck a little bit more unstable. This fights pretty much with Galvanic Iteration type of cards. Like, it's like they're doing opposing things, right? This is more powerful by itself in a way, but it just cuts. I mean, this is a little bit long, but like, I'm gonna try to sum it fast. Like, Phoenix is good, and Phoenix is the best against Pioneer because Phoenix is both an aggro, a mid-range. It's like Phoenix just has all the angles. Like, it's an aggro deck, but also it's a control deck, which means it's a sort of a mid-range deck, but it's more like it can be control deck and aggro deck, right? But also can be a combo deck, because you can just be aggro the tempo, you can just cut a bunch of the game, or you can just like storm kill someone with Galvanic Iteration into Temporal Trespass, or you can go iteration, draw 9 with a cruise. Like, you have these like 1, 2, 3 slots in your deck that actually make you play like a combo deck, adding a lot of like it adds another layer against decks like Nimisat or whatever, like specifically slow decks. But even if the mirror matches, like, the fact that you can approach the game in a combo way makes way harder, 1, to play this deck, and 2, to play against this deck. Like, obviously, the more angles you add to a deck, it gets way more complicated, of course. But I think that's what makes Phoenix, like, it puts the deck over the top, right? And I think changing the iteration for the memory, well, you get a better tempo deck. Your deck is way more of an aggro deck or mid-range deck, a little bit less of a control deck, of course, but you completely lose the combo axis. And when I tried, it was like, well, obviously I coming from someone that played the combo version, but I just felt like playing without the combo version actually made a lot of my cards worse. Specifically, for example, the Phoenixes or even the Pranksters, in a way, they were worse as tools. Like Prankster is better with memory, but like on face value synergy. But Prankster actually helps your deck so much in the combo angle that I'm not sure. Like, if I have to say, is Prankster better with memory or with iteration? I will say it's not even that clear. So for me, even though the card actually synergizes well with the shell, I think it's sort of a trap card because it makes you not be a combo deck anymore, and that's why, that's why I think it's not worth playing here. I could be wrong, of course, but that was my impression.
By the way, I wanted to shout out again Anthony and Isaac work on Phoenix. They made a guide together, and you can check it out on Isaac Bullwinkle Twitter. They share it, and I remember seeing a post from last weekend event that was thanking Anthony and Isaac for their guy won the tournament. So
they know what they're doing a lot, and they also they articulate very well what the thoughts are, which is something that sometimes
on this card.
No, they usually when they talk about Magic, you ask Anthony or Isaac something, and they're very good at saying the processes. So definitely, if you're playing tournaments with Phoenix, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe this card is very good against mono black, because what you do is this stays in play, and it's like a top deck mode. So you just have this in play. It doesn't die because it's an enchantment. The game continues. You draw cards, and you just cast, a cantrip. You pump your, it's just a card that makes value along the game, and mono black tends to make a lot of value. Sorry, the game tends to get longer, and this card can make a lot of value in that long game. Just, I was thinking that maybe it's good in the metagame against mono black.
Yeah, that's what you can think, right? But the actual the way you beat mono black with a deck like Phoenix is like the pattern is something like you hold Prankster as long as you can, and then you Prankster, and then you cruise iteration. Like mono black actually doesn't recover that well from card advantage. Obviously, if they go like the full discard waste now, go blank, you're gonna lose. But you also were not winning that game with the memory anyway. But I think comboing, like going iteration into cruise, is the best way to beat Thoughtseize decks. And I think the beating down the mono black deck is not exactly a very winning proposition. Like, you think about it, memory needs creatures to be good, right? And it's not that easy to have creatures against the mono black. One thing also, I think that you have no maximum hand size type of line in the card actually is a downside, because when you draw like 8 cards, 9 cards, or whatever in a turn, you often want to discard Phoenixes, and it's not that easy to always discard them if especially in cyber situations where you don't have that many landing access or whatever. I my very limited sample size, I felt this card that card's line was a downside, which I did not expect.
Okay. All right, and whenever we'll get the podcast together, maybe next week or maybe the one after, we'll definitely be talking about Standard after what happens in Naples. I have locked in a deck. I haven't registered a 75 yet, but very, very close. Let's say a 73. But yeah, excited to go there with Pivo. We're both qualified for the PT. Actually, Pivo is also qualified for Worlds, but we just love to compete in a 2-day event, prestigious tournament. A lot of money on the line, so very excited for the tournament, regardless of the fact that I'm already qualified. So I don't see the regional championship as a PTQ, as a qualifier for the Pro Tour. I see it as a very, very important event that happens every once in a while in my region. So yeah, excited to compete. And what about you, Javier? Did you do anything cool this weekend?
Not really. Magic related. It was very camped, but I think I'm not going to Naples this time. I went last year. I might go to the next one, to the next RC, but I definitely think the RCs are large enough that if you actually win them, they're even if you qualified. I mean, I think you did well last year in Naples, right? The top 4, I think.
Yeah, exactly. 1 year ago.
Exactly, and you were qualified already, weren't you? Or you were not qualified? I'm not sure.
No, I was not.
Yeah. So even if you qualified, I mean, I went last year. I was qualified, so I think they're good enough. I think they're in a sweet spot. I actually like the RCs a lot because they're in a sweet spot where if you're qualified, they're still large enough. You can go. If you want to go or it's convenient for you, you can go. But also, they're not large enough that if you're missing, you're like, oh, I'm missing a great event. I think they just nailed like how large they are, how
I
big
mean,
they are.
the the top eight is like it's like thousands of dollars to the point where it's actually decently close to a pro tour. It's like yeah, and I'm not gonna say that it's I do it all for the money, but it's definitely like it shows that WotC and Legacy European Tour wanted to make this event prestigious by putting so much prize on the line, and again, it is gonna be. I can use a little bit of that standard knowledge that I gained at the Pro Tour, so I'm happy to play standard for the last time in a while. And don't know when the next time I'll play standard. Maybe Worlds if I qualify. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go, but because it's not convenient for me now. But I will definitely try to go if it was like a little bit more logistically easy. Like I will definitely go if it was in Spain. So please make NRC in Spain next time.
Yeah, the next RC will be in France, Lille,
Although
in October, I think. Yeah.
maybe we see there. I don't know. Maybe I will go
Yeah,
there.
yeah, here you will see there. I didn't go to the last RC in Lille. It was last year. That was kind of a.
So they're
We'll see.
they're
We'll see
running
this
they're
one.
running it back. Well, at least you know the restaurants.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ask someone, I guess. Okay, I think we should wrap it up.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much for listening. As always, if you want to join the Patreon, is on patreon.com/Karnies, where we just talk about a bunch of things, where I post all my deck pictures and Mengucci quizzing pictures, and where you can tag me, Anthony, and Javier and ask anything you want. This is magic related, and sometimes Mengucci quizzing related as well. That's it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Bye bye. Cheers.